Hey, welcome back. So now it's time to go ahead and get into part 3, and we're going to start doing the production of our particular shirt. We've already designed everything and we know what we need, but there's a couple things that I want to go over that may not be explained because you're not going to get an actual chance to see how those things work because of the different systems. One of the things is the program behind me. It's called Cut Studio, and it's software that goes just for the machinery that we're going to be using as the plotter system. And the reason we're not going to go too heavy into this particular program is because if you have a different type of plotter, it's going to probably have its own software. And because they may not be the same, we're not going to go over that particular part of it, but I am going to explain to you exactly what happened. So in this particular program, once we take that JPEG item and we scan it into this actual system, import it, it will produce a cut line for that particular graphic. And it will take anything that's black and it will turn it into the cut pattern that we need. Okay, and so that's why when we were in here designing it, we were making certain things solid black, or we were leaving certain things that were outlined in black. It's going to recognize any black solid image, and then you are going to insert the actual color. The next thing is the material that we're using. I didn't go too heavy into the first 2 tutorials about this, but this is not standard vinyl. I don't want you to take standard vinyl and then try to heat press it to your shirt. You're going to have some serious problems. This is heat applied vinyl, and typically we use either a hot mark or what's called an easy weed or an easy print. This right here is going to be easy weed, and it's a pretty good solid vinyl to go on a shirt. Looks good, looks clean, is real crisp. It doesn't have that standard vinyl-y look, so it's gonna look like it was printed, and it's good material to use. Outside of these 2 things, we're going to go ahead and move over, and then I'm going to also talk about the machinery that we're going to be using. But we're going to go ahead and go over to the actual machinery, and we're going to get things started. Let's go. As you can see, this is a Roland product. It is a GX24, and it's not the latest model, but it is very efficient and probably one of the best machines that I've had since I started printing with the machine cut print. It has pressure sensitivity when it comes to cutting, and you'll see adjustments for that machine as it sets up, and you insert the vinyl in the back. When you start your initial loading of your material, you want to make sure that you load your material with the right side up. It's usually going to be the side that's not glossy. It's going to have kind of a matte feel to it, because this particular material has what's called a carry sheet already attached to it, so you're going to cut it in the reverse on the dull side, and you want to make sure your material is lined up right because you don't want it to come off track. You do that and you'll be able to have a nice image securely cut on the material that you need. Once the machine gets done cutting, we want to go ahead and move over, and we're going to start the weaving process. And remember, the weaving process, we use what's called a weaver, and I create a border outside of it first, and I start to peel away from it from a diagonal angle, a corner. You just take a corner and you peel from that, and that'll stop you from accidentally peeling up something that you want to keep in the initial design, because if you peel it from like a straight down angle, you can rip lettering or part of your graphic off. You just pull from a corner at an angle,
and pull with even speed. As you can see, once we get done weeding it out and we flip it over, our design looks correct and we're able to go to the shirt. We're going to preheat our shirt first and get all the wrinkles out of it and get it nice and warm so that it can be properly applied. And then once we press out our shirt, we're going to go ahead and line up our graphic, and we're going to give it a 12-second count. And this usually allows for a good amount of pressure and heat to apply the graphic. In the same way that we weaved out our material, we're going to pull from an angle, and this is also to make sure that if something's not properly heat applied, it doesn't just rip your graphic off. And you just want to pull at a nice even speed, okay, and just watching what you have. But with the right amount of pressure and the right amount of heat, you shouldn't have any issues applying the graphic to the shirt. And that will wrap up what we're doing.
Hi, welcome back. So as you can see, our finished t-shirt is done. And we have all the great makings of a good design and something that can be a quality product. So let's talk a couple things. First, let's talk about pricing. Anytime we go into this, it's always good to keep in mind that you want to make sure that your supplies are always accounted for. And our supplies, in this case, we buy by the yard from a distributor, so the pricing may vary from place to place. But typically, I'm going to say about 5 yards should run you in the neighborhood of about 50 bucks. Basically, it's going to be about $10 per yard. Hot Mark and Easy Weed have both raised their prices, so you do have to keep that in mind when it comes to materials. Some companies will make you buy 5 to 10 yards, some will make you buy a full 22. It just depends on what company you're going with when you buy your supplies. But based on $10 a yard, with the design size that we have on this, which is roughly about 10 inches, we can get about 3 designs out of each yard. Now, that may seem like it is not a lot for the yardage, but in reality, most designs aren't as big as this. And a lot of times you're just dealing with text, which means that, 1 yard can get you anywhere between, I'm going to say 3 to 8 shirts, depending on how big the image or graphic is that you're printing on. With that in mind, we still want to keep in mind regular t-shirt pricing. You don't want to be under $10 in this case. Your shirt's going to run somewhere between $1.35 and $2.25. Just depends on what brand you go with and if you can catch them on sale. So roughly, you'll say that out of each shirt you're going to make, if you just charge 10 bucks, you're going to make somewhere around $5. If you're in low quantity, I'm going to always tell you, like one-offs, $20 to $25 is what you need to charge per shirt. If they're not bringing you quantity, they have to pay for the fact that you have a future investment in whatever product that you had to print for them. And you're not guaranteed that the next person's going to want black t-shirts or they're going to want white print. So you may have to sit on your product for a while. So one t-shirt design should run you anywhere between 20 to 25. If they're doing 5 or more, you can bring it down to somewhere between $15 to $12. And if they're doing anything above 12, that's when you want to start getting into your standardizing pricing. $10, $9.50, $8.50. And this is just going to vary based on what you can lose. Never lose more than 50% of your investment. So if you have something that costs you $5 to produce, you don't want to be under $10 on your profit margin, because you at least want to make what you spent. And that is a good rule of thumb. In most cases, you want to make more than that because you want to have more to put into a future investment. Now, prices on t-shirts always vary. The bigger the company, the cheaper they get their product, the cheaper they can offer the designs. In this particular case, we deal with small to medium quantity. So you want to deal with customers that are on that base. That way you don't have to compete with people who have major industrial machines. If you do that, you'll make some money and you'll still be happy about what you're doing. My name is Daniel Butler. Thanks for tuning in. Have a blessed day.
Please subscribe so that we can blow up this channel. Have a good day.